So this is my ultimate gimbal setup for live video production. Let's start with the main event, the DJI RS3 Pro. The RS3 Pro is by far the best gimbal that I have ever used. Its main draw is the ability to lock and unlock auto-magically even when being held. Additionally, it is very easy to quickly balance because of its various locks and geared quick release plate system. Now, besides those standout features, it is just a gosh darn good gimbal, you know? It is reliably stable and the carbon fiber body is very light, which is great when you have to carry it for 12 hours straight, which I've done many, many times. Thank you, Jim Cook. By the way, if it's loud, it's because I'm in a state park and there's boats and people barbecuing and just having a good ass time. So if you can hear all that, I'm so sorry. Now, the RS3 Pro is definitely the heart and soul of this entire setup, but it's definitely not the only thing going on. I want to go ahead and break down a few of the additional accessories that I have going on that make this setup really shine. So my transmitter units of choice are these Hollyland wireless units, and they really are fantastic. Now, these specific units were sent to me from Hollyland. Thank you very much, Hollyland, for sending me out these lovely units. I like them a lot. However, prior to getting sent these specific units, I've actually been using these transmitter units for well over a year now on various different live productions, and they have been very, very reliable. One thing in particular that really makes these Hollyland units stand out is how simple they are to pair. My prior experience with other transmitter units have been kind of annoying when it comes to pairing systems. It involves a paper clip and like holding it down for a specific amount of seconds, and you'd always forget how long, and then you'd have to end up Googling it and then watching a YouTube video on how to pair the dang units, but then you wouldn't have Wi-Fi, so then you just kind of have to guess, and it's a whole nightmare, okay? It's terrible. Hollyland has your back. All you have to do is hold down the side knob for like 1 second and then click channel scan. It's going to go ahead and scan 8 different channels to find which channels are the strongest in any given environment. It says scanning successful. And in this case, since there's literally nothing going on, it's all nature, all 8 channels are good to go. However, typically when you're in, let's say, a stadium environment or maybe a theater environment, you're probably gonna have like 4 or 5 channels to choose from. It'll auto select one of the stronger channels, but you can always override it, whatever makes sense. And then whatever unit has been paired to the receiver unit, this is the receiver, that one over there is the transmitter, they should auto connect. But if they don't, all you have to do is push down on the joystick and it'll cycle through the different channels 1 through 8. Once you find the one you want, in this case, channel 3, I click OK, and it's ready to go. These Hollylands are really robust. We've had 3 receivers and 3 transmitters running in a theater environment, and they worked great. We had 2 gimbals going and then another one set up so that we didn't have to run HDMI cable all the way across the entire theater, which was great. We actually used these suckers for the Snapdragon Summit 2022 in Hawaii, which was a really amazing trip. And I imagine we're probably gonna be using them at Snapdragon Summit in 2023. So these things are a great addition to my kit. Now I have my transmitter unit attached via this DJI Ronin cheese plate, which just screws right into the side of the RS3 Pro. And then from there, I have a Condor Blue Magic Arm. I love the Condor Blue Magic Arm because it is very easy to adjust if I need it to. All I gotta do is turn the blue handle, move it to where I want, and then tighten it down, making it very flexible, because one of the things is I don't want it to get in the way of my trigger. So I have the spacing here perfect, but I want it to be as close to the gimbal as possible so that the weight isn't pushing forward. And of course, in this case, I am rocking the purple Condor Blue Gerald Undone Edition HDMI cable from my transmitter unit to my Lumix S5 Mark II X. I really do like that these are right angle HDMI cables. It just means that it's less pushing up and then getting in the way of how the gimbal is moving. So the cable is actually not getting in the way at all. Now, like I said, I have the Lumix S5 Mark II X here on the top. I actually switched to this for all my personal YouTube content from the R6 Mark II Canon. Click here, or maybe it's here, to see my thoughts on switching from the Canon system to the Lumix system for my personal YouTube channel. But a lot of times when we're actually doing these productions, I'm working for a company, they're all on the Canon system still. So I will oftentimes run a Canon R5, and in which case I would use the Condor Blue Micro HDMI. Boo, stinky. Hate that I have to do that on the Canon system into my transmitter unit down here. Just a little extra tweak, but for my personal content, I choose to shoot on the Lumix system. Now, I definitely don't use these for my live production on my gimbal setup, but I do oftentimes switch from a live production mode to a B-roll mode, and I have to do that on the fly. So one thing that I like to always keep in my setup, in my kit, are the Rode Wireless Go 2s. These are actually the Rode Wireless Go Me's. I'm testing them out to see how they work, but I typically have the Wireless Go 2s. It's a really great, awesome addition to a gimbal setup because they weigh almost nothing. And when you have the RS3 Pro, I can slap that thing on and I don't have to do any rebalancing because the motors are plenty strong enough to support it. So I definitely like to keep a set of Rode lav mics on me in my bag at all times. If you guys have any questions about my ultimate gimbal setup, feel free to ask me any questions down in the comments. I'd love to start a conversation with you guys there. And if you like this video, I think you're gonna love this one.